Hello, my loves, and welcome to the Feminine Legacy Podcast. This is your host, Jacqueline Hyacinth. I'm excited today to be joined by Honeybee Henderson. She is a spiritual life coach, amongst many other things, a yogini, a shamanka, all the stuff. But I'm really glad to have her here with me so we can share and enliven you with our joy.
Yes.
Welcome, Honeybee.
Hi, Jackie. Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome. So, before we begin, I just want to touch in, and I love to talk about how the connection is formed. So, I was diving in again to another level of my inner teenager, and Daily Ohm popped up in my inbox, and I was like, oh, let me add on. And so I did, and I took Honeybee was leading the course. And I was like, oh my God, I totally love this little cookie. And so I reached out to her and was like, I want to talk to you and bring you on. So that is how we got here. So we're still learning each other. And so it's all brand new. So welcome. I'm excited to deepen and learn you.
Thank you. Thank you. It feels like the connection is lifelines worth,
Yeah.
lifetimes worth.
hmm
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I love so much about the times that we're in. Like the internet is crazy and it's so filled with possibility, and we're just like consistently being woven.
Well, and it's like what you were saying, it's this thing that you're looking for something and it shows up, and maybe it's through the internet or maybe it's through a conversation or something that you see. But the universe, we are in constant relationship with this great mother, with the mother, she's always prompting us and pointing us and guiding us. And so I feel really deeply honored and grateful to be sitting here with you today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So let's see where we want to go. I guess I want to start with first, like, what brought you to the work? That's always the big question for me. I know it's like the calling, the urgency, like, how did it start opening for you?
I was on the ground in my own puddle of tears for the millionth time and didn't know where to go and what to do. And I had so much pain from childhood, from my teenage years, from my younger years, being a sexual assault survivor and not really having a place to put it. I had been to therapists, and gosh, I had my first life coach in 1998, which I didn't, at that time, nobody really even knew what a life coach was. But this woman was like, therapy's not going to help you.
Mhm.
And I ended up in yoga, and yoga was my first embodiment realization. And at some point through the mystery, um, I thought, well, there's something more than just this exercise aspect of yoga. There's
Mhm.
something deeper. And so it took me into my spiritual psychology program. That was really a great opening for me and a great healing place for me at the University of Santa Monica. And I credit them for their fortitude. They've been around for 48 years.
Mm.
And um, the two facilitators just really, really helped me to see that I didn't have to carry this any longer, this pain, this suffering, and I could, and it was directly connected to my joy, that the pain that I had was in fact the opposite of the polarity of the joy that lives within me. And as I started healing myself through these practices in the body and through these spiritual concepts and truths, I started to reveal more of myself and more of my joy and more of my curiosity about this mystery that we live in.
I love all of that.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Me too. Thank you, Mother. Thank
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
Mother.
I love that you add into, I mean, therapy is a tool for sure, but
Wonderful.
there is so much more.
Right.
There is so much more. And that model itself um, is upgrading, I think,
Yes.
in
So
many
exciting.
ways.
So exciting with the
Yeah,
somatic
it
work.
is. Yeah, for
And I
sure.
think you can't go to a talk therapist anymore without talking about what's happening in our bodies.
hmm
And so this path led me to study Sri Vidya, which is a tantric philosophy, a tantric school about embodying the mother.
Mm.
Shri is mother, Vidya is knowledge of, and this Sri Vidya is a system, ancient system of opening up through the foundation, through the chakras, through the energy centers to awaken and aliven ourselves through the senses of the physical. We can't just talk about things. We've got to actually allow ourselves to feel it.
I love
So,
it.
and as you know, now I'm all nerding out into the science because I think these guys are so fun because they're putting data towards what the mystics have always known.
Mhm.
And so now we know that trauma that lives inside the body is an unfinished process of the nervous system. So this is the work that we're here doing. And I really applaud you and thank you for being such a loud speaker for the divine mother and the divine feminine, because this
Thank
is the
you.
answer. Yeah,
Ditto. This is the answer. It is like, let's go home now.
let's go
You've
home.
played outside and gotten banged up long enough. Just come back to
Come
the breath,
home.
come home, come and be nourished. Understand that there's a new way. Come and surrender. Give me all your pain. Give me all, don't give it to me, but give it to her. And just really allow yourself to relish and marvel in the totality of creative genius that is accessible to us, right? And we grow up thinking we're so cut off from it. And
But
then
we,
we're like, all of a sudden we have to like plug back in and whoop, and we're back in the womb.
yeah. And I don't know that, this is a lot through and a lot of these ancient wisdom, these
Mm,
indigenous practices that, I don't know if you know the author Martin Prechtel.
I don't
He's
think
one
I
of
do.
he's a beloved teacher, and his books are just stunning. And in his first book, two words have changed the way that I work with people: become nature.
Oh,
And this teaching is just a return home to the mother.
mm,
This earth mother is the answer. She's unconditional in her loving. Everyone lives here, regardless of your faith, of your belief system, of your color of skin, of your religious choices. She accepts and loves all of us because she allows us to be here. And that to me is like we are not only we're remembering now that we are her.
mhm.
These songs, Earth my body, water my blood, air my breath, and fire my spirit. These ancient teachings are making a resurgence and
Mhm.
are needed right now. We go back to the indigenous wisdom to reclaim who we are. And that to me is like, wow,
What
powerful.
also amazes me so much is that the indigenous wisdom is held everywhere in all beings, right? So no matter what part of the world you're in, no matter what you have access to, there is a key and something is made available to you, whether it's through the land itself, or if teachers arrive, or the right book shows up, something
That's
is
right.
is viable, whether it's through your mother's, your father's. So it's a powerful time. And just the joy of understanding that we're so supported. I know how easy it is to forget that when we're like bereft and we're going through our storms. But the real truth of like all the technologies that all of our beloveds in our family lineage, our spiritual lineages that have made accessible to us, like here, like you said, you're going to take this training, it's
Right.
like all of it is a divine orchestration for us, even you and me sitting right here, two peas in a hive. So it's like, wow, this orchestration is so incredible. We just have to open up our hearts and our eyes to see and perceive the realities with, yeah, with greater understanding and greater
I
foresight.
love the bit that pulled me just now is that there are infinite ways to come home.
Mm,
And so we don't need to go sit in the jungles and be in ceremony and learn. There are infinite ways. Rumi says 1,000 ways to kiss the ground.
yeah.
And Rumi, this mystic, this poet, he was connected to truth.
Yeah.
And that's what we're remembering is what our truth is beyond this. And there's plenty to be afraid of, and there's plenty to be pulling us off center. And it really lives inside the breath. The
Mm,
breath inside the breath is what connects all of us.
yummy.
That's so beautiful.
It is
Mm,
so beautiful. Thank you for that.
yeah.
So I want to weave in
Yes.
to talk about, and we know the importance of inner children work. We understand
Yes.
the importance, but I love a very potent piece for me is adolescence and the teenagers, because this is like our menstruation. This is where the mother's power starts to awaken in us in such a profound way. And so a great deal of my work is in this way and supporting mothers and daughters in like how do we hold this time with great power, right? You, me, I'm sure, and many of us were not initiated maybe in the way that we would have liked to initiate somebody else, like to have literacy, knowledge, all the nervous system information. Imagine you had it when you were like 13, what life would have been like, right?
Totally different.
Totally different. So now we have all this wisdom online and we can start to usher this in with everybody that we touch, right? It billows out into families and communities because that's what women do, right?
Yes.
We inherently share.
And I want to say it is what women do, but it's bigger than women. This is what the
Mhm.
mother does through
Everyone.
each person,
Yes.
man, woman, whatever you are born into, everyone has the seed of the mother inside of them.
Mm.
So that's our awakening is to remember that we're not this isn't relying upon women in the indigenous cultures have an easier access because we bleed. We have an easier access to the divine feminine, but we all have masculine, feminine,
Yeah.
and that's why in the cultures of the indigenous people from the land where I come from, they do vision quests, and they usually strip the males of food and water for 4 days to get them in line. But if a woman does a vision quest, they do feed her cornmeal and water because she already has a closer connection to the mother. It doesn't make either one good or bad. It's just this is the gift that we have been given as women, and it is our honor and our
Mm.
deepest path is to share that so that the ripple can impact the hearts that are ready to receive this wisdom of the mother.
Mm.
That's the
I
word, right?
love that clarification. Yes. Yes.
And I'm with you. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
And also because we're the center giving birth to the men, that this is inherently, if you look lineage wise, I mean, it's such a divine orchestration. So the more that we accept and embrace, like that each one of us is connected to that, that we all have a fruit to bear and to bring forth.
and something so specific inside of each of us. That's we each hold a key.
And that's like the biggest distortion in our living world, that how that was corrupted because we then spend our whole lives looking outside, living externally instead of fully being in union with like, wow, I actually matter. And my gifts are vibrant and are needed here on the planet. So we're remembering that together
Yes.
and releasing this conditioning and honoring our unique root
Yeah.
of what we've come to bring. Yeah. Mm.
And through this philosophy of classical tantra, we are creative beings. That's the mother, that life force energy. And so it's like get people plugged into their creation, man, woman, child, teenager, get people plugged into their creation. And that which brings us joy will help to evolve the planet. That which we create from the inside that we share then in externally will be the evolution that we've all been looking for. So that's why, I have some male clients that are engineers and they're really brilliant minds. But as soon as we get them into their bodies, something changes. we start to learn like, oh, maybe I'm a musician at heart, or maybe I'm a poet, or maybe my gift is science. Whatever it is like, let's get people plugged in.
So they can sort that out for themselves and create more options.
Create, just to create, to keep that pulse
Yeah.
of energy moving, but to create from a place of integrity, of love, of
Mm.
alignment with our souls instead of coming from fear.
Yeah.
So we can talk about this, and I know you want to talk about the teenagers
Yeah.
because it's an important piece of the puzzle, this adolescent time. And funnily enough, the De Leon asked me, can you teach a course on healing your inner teenager? And I was like, oh, okay. And then when I kind of took a scope back, I was like, oh, I'm actually healing my own inner teenager right now. So, of course, this is why I'm teaching this course because I need this. And
Yeah.
what has come from that is, we do this inner child work. And the inner child is usually that creative one that's sparkly, that's all these things that doesn't get their needs met. And that doesn't mean anything about the parents. The parents are always doing the best that they know how to do with their given scope and with how they know how to do it. And then the teenager comes up and it's like, I'm going to protect this little kid because no one else did. So that's where we get the rage and we get the frustration and we feel insecure because we're not accepted and we feel alone in the world. And this is my 30th year of my high school. But we had our 30-year high school reunion this year, and I'm just giggling at this whole thing because I'm like, wow, what timing? Here we are.
Mhm.
Look at me reviewing back to my high school days. Everyone thought I was like the happy-go-lucky kid. And inwardly, I was in so much pain. I was so lonely. I liked everybody because I didn't want anybody to feel as lonely as I felt.
Mm.
And so I was insecure. I didn't have parents who knew how to help me grow into a confident, capable woman. They knew how to be very small and put me into this
Yeah.
like recipe, go to school, get married, have children. And it didn't work for me. That recipe was not my life, it was not my life path. But the undoing is in going back and looking at those teenage years when hormones, as we talked about, are starting to come online and our brains are changing and our nervous systems are holding on to trauma. And it's like, if we don't know how to release the trauma, which was my thing, I had a lot of emotional neglect because
Mhm.
I had big emotions, raped as a child at 3, and then big emotions and the inability for the parents to support those big emotions. I didn't know how to do it for myself. And so that's what I'm really invested in supporting people to revisit their past, not to get stuck, but to actually complete the process of the nervous system so that we can move forward.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
It's such important work. Yeah.
we know so.
We know so. We do know so. So I love all of that. And I will just share that like the teenage years for me were like so full on. I had like
Okay.
just come through my father dying at 9. And then like just, I mean, it was such, I had like this beautiful grief-stricken mother who was not able to parent any longer because of her being so deeply bereft. And it just was like our whole foundation fell out.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, it's been really interesting about structures and how we're in these molds. But yeah, I took a very non-traditional route and that involved teenage pregnancy and me moving out of my house, like massive rebellion. I mean, it was like full on.
Yeah.
And I lived in a group home, was removed from my home when I was 13. I mean, like, so we all have these terrains of path, whether yours was you suffering silently at home or you having a big, vast experience of chaos. The bottom line is that we get to go back
Yes.
and support and nurture all of those parts of ourselves in real time. Isn't that dope?
You know what I think is so dope about that?
What?
It's that I just heard somewhere, likely from a meme, because I think we get messages from all over the place. It could have
Yeah,
been a
yeah,
meme. But I do a lot of we call it in neurolinguistic programming, timeline therapy. In the shamanic worlds, they call it soul retrieval.
yeah.
I've done a lot of work going back into the past and helping people reclaim older parts of themselves, fragmented parts of their soul. But what I never really thought about, and I heard recently, is that that younger part is actually asking in the moment, please, someone come help me.
Yeah.
Because time is is
Yeah.
not the way we know it. Time is now.
Mm-hmm.
And so going through this quantum field, actually the younger part and the older conscious part are looking for each other
Love it.
so that we can go back as an adult to go back and re-pattern and re-heal and to look at that. But at the same time, that child, that teenager is like, please, someone help me. And the only answer is you.
I love it.
I
Yeah.
just, I saw that and I cried because I thought, oh, how many times do I remember laying in my bedroom being like, get me out of this pain. I'm suffering so much. I don't know what to do. And now I'm the one to go back in, to love her, to tell her like, it's okay, baby. You're doing great. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
I was a cheerleader also for most of my life. And I still am, mostly just because that's my favorite role to
Mm.
play with people. I just got off the phone with a client earlier and she's like, I'm just beating myself up. And stop it.
Yeah.
That is not, it's just stop it. That doesn't help us at all. Stop
Doesn't.
it and be kind. And she said, I don't know if I can. I said, well, fake it until you get it
Mhm.
because we need to start building that muscle of compassion, of love, of, of acceptance.
Mm.
Because when we build that muscle, then everything else has a chance to relax. It doesn't have to fight so hard, you know? And it's just like the medicine is within, and that's you and I. What we're doing is we're invoking
Winning.
people
Yeah.
to tune into their own internal medicine because that's the healing.
Isn't it beautiful? I'm just having a moment of reflection around how sweet it is that you literally, like, even the sweetness I feel just sitting with you right now, right? But just this connection that is formed, and this, when you just open a prayer
Yeah.
and you come into space with somebody intentionally,
Yes.
everything is possible.
Everything is possible.
They could be somebody you know, somebody you don't know, but something drops out and
Yes.
this like deeper support comes in. And so that's why I'm such a fan of mentorship and like eldership. And because I know that I longed for someone to show up and guide me all of my life. And
Yes.
now I'm like, I'm gonna fucking be the strongest grandmother and
Yes.
mama I can
Yes.
possibly be to
Yes.
foster and nourish this, like, you're all deserving. Like,
All of us.
all of us is
And all
deserving.
parts of us. All
All
parts
parts.
of us.
Yes. The
This
ones
is
in
one
the basement that are we're shaming,
yes,
all of it.
yes. So this is one thing that I that triggers me a little bit is when people are like, we've got to eradicate the ego. And I'm like, mm-mm-mm. Love that ego. Love that part because there's pain in there.
Yeah.
There's pain in those that are hurting, that are suffering, that are projecting that onto others. And yes, the possibility of prayer is the opening that we need.
Yeah.
And the prayer that we say is thank you.
Mm.
Thank you for that which has yet to come alive inside of me. Because that's what changes the vibrational frequency that will attract the whatever thing we want. But there is no like, oh, I'm insecure. I got to get rid of my insecure. No, baby.
No.
Hug those insecurities.
Yes.
And then they might come up and say, I need a new job. For example, my inner teenager, rebellious. I mean, that girl is like, she's fiery. And the inner teenager is responsible for boundaries. That's kind of the
Mm.
jam. So there gets to be a lot of anger with those teenage parts or that rage that some people are feeling. And I had this gorgeous opportunity years ago with a mentor who's since passed, Steve Fieldman, what an angel in my life. Um, he helped me to see that inner teenager, and her name is in Arabic. Her name is Zaina, which means beautiful. And it's cool, it's a good idea to name these parts sometimes because then we can separate and see,
Yeah.
like, okay, so part of me feels this instead of all of me is this. So Zaina was this rageful bitch. I mean, she it was rebellious and pissed and this. And when I got to work with her and loved her enough, she showed me and revealed to me that she's the fire that continues to bring vitality to my life. I mean, she's this gorgeous embodiment of love and passion and creativity. And so when I forget, and when I'm in rage, I just bring her close. I have this process in the inner fire, and I bring her close, and she can transform. And that's what all of these parts are able to do if we just give them
Mhm.
love. We are all able to transform if we just apply love. My
Yeah.
guru Maharaji says love is the strongest medicine.
Agreed.
For that again.
Okay. So, Honeybee, tell us a little bit about where you're from.
Okay. Well, I grew up in Texas.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I grew up in a border town in Texas, and I'm currently in Mexico, which has been such a treat all my life. I thought one day I'll live in Mexico. And then 5 years ago, I was like, is this the day I live here? Things
Great.
happen. So my lineage and what I'm most strongly connected to is the Middle East. My family is Lebanese, my mother's side. And I have spent since 2015, I've been working in the Middle East with mostly in Jordan, which is about 80% Palestinian, and working inside Palestine with Israelis working towards peace. And it's a beautiful, it's a, it's a mess right now.
Mhm.
And what we know, and what those of us who've been over there and stood on that land know that the pulse of the mother is strong and that she has some greater plan that will be worked out, that will be resolved. And our work right now is to continue to heal the generational trauma that has been passed along that will take a while to unravel. But we work one heart, one body at a time. We connect people to themselves so that they know with their intuition what is needed to support the whole. We don't buy into this war. That's a false narrative that is so harmful to the nervous system, to the humans that are suffering. We, I have I say we because I have this legion of divine feminine angels that I work for and with alongside. And the truth is that the mother is here and the mother is here now.
Yeah.
And so it's a big part of my joy is to support people to be in their bodies because we have to start getting out of this trauma that has been passed on from generations, this hate. This is not who we are.
Yeah.
We as humans, when you go down deep, there is no separation. So hating someone else is a part of me that hates myself, which is kind of a waste of energy.
Mhm.
So I'm really excited for the work that's happening over there right now, and also so sad for for the for how hard it is for people to wake out of this.
Mhm.
And I know that I've been put on this earth to support my lineage because
Mm.
I want to be free.
Yeah.
And my knowing, I have most of my clients are Palestinian, Lebanese, Israeli, most of them.
Okay.
And there's something there's a greater risk of releasing a generational pain that is so embedded in the DNA, which happens to all of us anywhere
Hmm.
we grow up. But there it's so dense that I really see the courage and the bright lights of these people because they have to risk saying, I'm not playing into this system anymore. I choose peace within myself. And there's so many light workers all around the Middle East right now in human form, in energetic form, and when we do have peace in the Middle East, the entire planet will have peace.
Hmm.
That is the epicenter of all that is. And it is waking up right now. It's messy and it's loud and it's horrific and it's painful and it's scary. And we show up and we keep showing up to support our loved ones because everyone deserves to have this freedom in their bodies. Every single one of us, no matter what religion or color or ideology you have, we want to break all those.
Yes.
There is one mother.
And we are
There is
all her
one
children. Yeah.
father.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's hard. It's been a very hard 10 years as I've been awakened to what is going on there, as I walk through the West Bank and visit sacred holy sites and when I stood on the Mediterranean Sea that is now suffering greatly, I reclaimed a part of my DNA and I felt, okay, I'm here to help my people.
Mm.
And they're all my people. This is,
Yeah.
this, this is it. This is it for me. So, and my work now, and likely you too, is that my work is to help the helpers. So I'm not
Yeah.
going to be one of these people that's in a protest.
Yeah. Me neither.
And I'm there to very pointedly support the people who have great impact. For example, if I can share
Yeah.
with this gorgeous woman named Layla, and she's been a client of mine since the beginning, 2015, since I went over there. She works for the UN with the refugees, and we've been together when she was in Botswana and then in Libya, and then now she's in Syria. She's on leave right now, so we're reorganizing some ways to support her and to um, get her supported in her work that she's doing. And she sent me a note years ago from a woman, a refugee in Botswana. And this woman was being raped daily by her husband, by her husband's friends, but I had taught Layla this very simple write and burn.
Yeah.
Write and burn, baby, write and burn. And there's a container around it, and Layla taught this woman in the camps.
Yeah.
And this woman that I will never touch, that I will never come into contact with, sends me a note through Layla that she and all the women around her now feel free because they've learned this simple tool about releasing the pain and the suffering. And that to me is the work of the mother. We
Mhm.
are all put in place. And when we are open channels,
Yeah.
we have done enough of our trauma work, we have done enough of our healing work, we will always receive the guidance on where to go next and how to support and how we can make the biggest impact. And it's not always about being in the front lines fighting.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's about positioning yourself to say, okay, Layla, get in here. Let me love you.
Hmm.
Let me show you how to love yourself. Because her impact is far greater than mine could ever be.
Yeah.
She's a mother. She's like, Ma. That one is impressive. And there are so many of those people. She's Jordanian. I can't remember if she's Jordanian Palestinian or if she's Jordanian Egyptian, but she's Arab. And she's a fierce Ma. And
Mm.
there are so many of us all over the world like this.
Yeah.
And so it's like that's what keeps invigorating me is to like get to share my ways, my
Yeah.
gifts, so that we can start to change and be free. I am here for moksha, for liberation.
Amen. Yes.
And I'm not alone. I want that for you. I want that for Juan, who I surfed with this morning. I
Yeah.
want it for everyone on the planet. I want this liberation for everyone. We all deserve that because
Yeah.
we all have that same breath that connects us, that same pulse of life. That's who we are.
Mm.
So I just find it
Mm.
to be so beautiful and so powerful. And I'm just waiting for my megaphone to turn up a little bit louder. I got the
I
pom
hear you.
poms and the dance
Yeah.
down, working on the megaphone. So any opportunity I can to share that inspires your listeners, or maybe they think this woman's wild. I don't care. Try some of these practices. Try just
Yeah.
shaking your body every morning
Yes.
and just see if you can release the energies from you, and then take a breath and then notice what it feels like afterwards. And that's the level we're at, is like these subtle shifts can make great impact if we
Great impact.
if we just stay consistent,
Yeah.
consistent, consistent in love in our
Mhm.
hearts. Keep coming home, keep coming home, keep coming home.
And that can be the navigation system. Right? Like sometimes when we're lost and we don't know where we're going and we're like, the best question, of course, is who am I? But like, where am I going today? What am I doing? What's the next step? It's like always feet back in the earth, drop into the heart, get into some form of practice and yeah, and just make the shift. But if we never drop back down and we never choose, we can just put in the navigation. I want to be one with the mother. What a fucking
Yes.
amazing way to start the day.
What an amazing way to start the day. We're
Yeah,
so blessed.
we are.
It's this mother of ours loves us so much.
Hmm.
And the
So much.
universe speaks in metaphors.
Mhm.
And Pachamama, Mother Earth, becomes Mother Mary, becomes all
Yeah.
these things, and becomes Durga, becomes these different aspects of the Divine Mother, the Divine Feminine. And it doesn't matter what you buy into, just tune in,
Yeah, just get in.
tune in.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
my I love Ram Dass. He's one of my
Me too. Yeah.
godbrothers. We share a guru, and I was listening to him this morning, and Maharaji told him, "You got to get rid of anger." And when you get rid of anger, and he's like, "I can't get rid of anger," and he's like, "You need to stop lecturing." He's like, "I can't stop lecturing," and it's like the funniest thing. And so years later, that was a recording from probably the 70s, when he'd just gotten back from
Um,
India, early 70s. And I swam with Ram Dass many times in Maui together before he passed. And this guy was the happiest character on the planet. This guy just exuded joy. People had to carry him because he had had a stroke and he was in a wheelchair. So they made this like wheelchair flotation device that they put him in the ocean. And we all just laughed and sang around him and be
mm,
in joy and be in the divine. That guy was not lecturing anymore. He was just embodying love.
love it.
Yeah, so when I remember that, I can remember like just my natural being is enough.
Mm, I
Your
love
natural
that.
being is enough, right? That's all that we need to remember. Who
You
you
want
are
to
naturally.
look, this pendant I just got for my birthday from
I've
my
been looking
teacher.
at it, but I can't see it.
On the other side, it says, I am enough. Yeah.
Hari Om Tat Sat.
Yeah.
How beautiful is that?
Yeah.
You
We
are
are,
so
we're enough.
stunning. You
We
are
are.
so stunning. I am just like overjoyed to know you exist.
Same, same. I'm so grateful that you said yes.
Well, we need all hearts on deck. That's the jam right now. Like, whatever pains that people are going through, let's love them. Find
Mhm.
someone who can help you see your blind spots because we all have them, myself
All
included.
do.
And we will always be aligned with the right people at the right time.
Mm.
You know, this young woman. She's not, she's my favorite. I love her. I love so many. I love, that's my job. I love
Yeah.
big.
Yeah.
And she is going through something that I just have gone through. And she said she's just feeling afraid. But everybody keeps asking her, like, how long are you going to stay in Amsterdam? How long are you going to stay in Amsterdam? How long? And it was not her intention to leave Amsterdam. But now the universe is like giving her all of this, and she's scared. And I understand. This unknown is scary as can be.
Yeah.
And David White, modern day poet and dreamy human extraordinaire, he says that you know you're on the path when the path itself disappears.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
that's a scary place for most of us to
Oh, it
be.
is.
And it's unknown because our greatest addiction is control, all
Yeah.
humanity.
Completely.
And when we have that capability of being like, I
Yeah.
don't know what's next, but I'm here for it. My feet are in the ground and my hands are in the air. I'm in full surrender.
Yeah.
Just use me, use me. Ricky Byers, I can just tell you all these beautiful teachers, but this song she made, use me, oh God, I stand for you. And here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. And that's the thing. The universe, the mother, the whatever you connect is always prompting us. Always. Open your eyes, open your heart. It's all there. And much simpler than we make it.
It's so much more simpler than we make it.
Right?
Please remember to send the name of that, like when you're sending your information, so I can post it so that people can listen. And thank you for sharing
That
your heart.
song,
Oh
I
my
will
God.
send that
Oh
to you.
my God, it's yummy.
She's lovely. Ricky Byers Beckwith out of California. She's a lovely channel of the divine.
Mm,
I will send that to you because
okay.
that's,
And then I'll send it to the audience too.
yeah.
Awesome.
My Catholic mama used that song for her. She does some kind of volunteer work now, and I sent it to her, and she said everybody was crying because that's really the
Oh,
truth, you know. Let
yeah.
us be vessels of love. Show us how to do it, and it's going to be different. I talk a lot, so I'm going to talk a lot. That's
Okay.
my
Yes. Yeah.
jam.
Awesome. Yeah. You got to be you.
Yeah.
You got to be you. Tell me, you were saying that I just want to tie some things in as far as what you're doing. And you're offering a sacred sexuality course, which I love that all of us are being called right now. I'm like, "Rah." I have a men's course coming in soon. I just love all.
Thank you.
P.S. I also want to add how liberating it is when you're in that creative joy that you don't have to be niched into one particular thing. You get to be a free fucking bird and emanate all the different colors of the mother that are you. So like today you can decide you want to be this and you get a download that you want to, share this with somebody. So I love it all. So tell us what's happening.
I've got a couple courses on the daily this one, How to Heal Your Inner Teenager, you can find that. And they're re-promoting the Sacred Sexuality course that I taught, which is really fun. It's everything for me is about getting people in their bodies, whether it's through sex or having orgasms or having more pleasure in your life or being free and liberated. Um, and we're doing some good work in the Middle East, helping them as well, which I'm very excited about. And yeah, I'm writing my book. I just want all this information out in the world and so that people can, so it can be accessible.
Yeah.
Because so long ago, people thought I was this wild character, and it was true.
Yeah.
Now they're like, well, how did we get to be like that?
Yeah. Isn't that amazing?
The information is in your body.
Mhm.
Everything you need is inside of you. So all the courses I teach may feel like, one of the courses that's coming out is the courage to continue when
Mm.
you're having the dark night of the soul. Any of this work is about embodiment.
Yeah.
Any of this work and all of this work for me is offered to the mother. So, and I really love that you're doing this work. Feel so aligned and grateful to have spent this time with you just
Me
now.
too. Me too. Thank you
More
so
to
much.
come. More to
More to
come.
come. Yeah, we'll definitely play.
Definitely.
I will put all the information below. Thank you to everybody who tuned
Yes,
in, and I
yes,
hope that you enjoyed our
yes.
time together. And thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Mwah.
Mwah.